I'll go to the two for
Two for
member
member
ballot
ballot
first.
first.
It
It
was
was
add-on to
add-on
this
to this
building.
building.
So we
So
did
we did
some
some
math
math
on it.
on it.
Uh,
Uh,
and this is
and this is
based
based
on a
on a
study that the
study that the
county did
county
with
did with
some
some
inflators due
inflators due
to
to
inflation.
inflation.
Um,
Um,
so this
so this
building,
building,
give or take
give or
about
take about
70,000
70,000
squares,
squares.
we
We
looked
looked
at
at
about
about
8 years
8 years
ago to
ago to
repurpose the
repurpose the
courthouse, the old courthouse,
courthouse,
and that
and that
was a
was a
$60
$60
million
million
project at
project
the
at the
time to
time to
renovate the old
the old
courthouse, and you'd
courthouse, and
still
you'd still
be
be
obviously with the
obviously
old
with the old
courthouse short
courthouse
on
short
space
on
because
space
it's the
because it's the
exact same
exact
size
same size
building as
building
this.
as this.
Um,
Um,
and
and
so
so
what you'd
what
be
you'd be
looking at
looking
for
at
this
for
with
this with
escalation for
escalation for
inflation,
inflation,
just to
just to
rehab
rehab
this
this
building, take
building,
it
take it
down
down
to
to
where it
where
would
it would
be
be
kind of bare
kind of bare
bones and
bones and
rebuild about
rebuild about
$90
$90
million.
million.
Added
Added
square
square
footage
footage
needed to
needed to
retrofit this
retrofit this
building. And
building,
as
and as
somebody that I
somebody that I
talked to on
talked
this
to on
one
this one
told
told
me,
me,
well,
well,
anything's
anything's
possible,
possible,
right? It's
right?
just
It's
how
just
much
how
do you
much
want
do
to
you want to
spend on
spend
it?
on it?
And so,
And so,
not
not
knowing all the
knowing all the
structural
structural
deficiencies that this
deficiencies that this
building might
building might
present,
present,
they
they estimated
estimated about
twelve hundred
$1,200 a
dollars a
square
square
foot
foot
for
for
additional
additional
squares of
squares of
space that
space
you would
that you
add
would
on.
add
But
on. But
that was
that was
expecting that you'd
expecting that
run
you'd
into
run
some
into some
problems along
problems
the
along
way
the
trying
way
to
trying to
retrofit a
retrofit a
building that
building
was
that
not
was not
purpose built.
purpose
And so
built.
they
And so
thought
they
about
thought about
240
240
million
million
on
on
that.
that.
And so you're
So
looking at
you're
like
looking at like
340 to
340 to
350 to
350 to
retrofit this
retrofit this
space.
space.
You would run
You would
into
run into
two
two
problems.
problems.
One would be
One
the
would be the
obvious that
obvious
while
that
you're
while you're
redoing this
redoing this
space, you would
space, you
have
would have
no
no
potential
potential
space for
space
the
for the
county
county
employees and
employees
county
and the county
business that
business that
currently
currently
takes
takes
place
place
here.
here.
And then
And
the
then
other
the other
being the
being the
parking
parking
problem that you
problem
would
that you would
face
face
having to
having to
stage most
stage
of the
most of the
parking lot. And
parking
if
lot.
any
If
of
any
you
of
were
you
here
were here
yesterday,
yesterday,
a very
a very
busy day at
busy
the
day
county
at the
building
county
where
building
we
where
did
we
run
did
out of
run out of
parking
parking
throughout the
throughout the
entire
entire
day.
day.
And so
And
you
so
would be
you're
losing
losing
parking
parking
spaces on
spaces
that
on
one
that
as
one
well.
as well.
And then
And
it
then
does
it
not
does not
address your
address your
judicial
judicial
problem being
problem
that if
being
you
that
were
if
to
you were
move
to
the
move the
state's
state's
attorney and
attorney and
probation and the
probation and
public
public
defender over
defender over
here,
here,
you would
you
have
would
to
have to
find ways
find
to
ways
get
to
them
get
to
them
and from
to
the
and from the
courthouse, which would
courthouse,
be
which would be
rather
rather
inefficient.
inefficient.
The other
The
one
other
from
one
member
from member
ballots
ballots
was
was
new
new
land on
land
the
on the
west side
west
of
side of
Joliet.
Joliet.
We did
We did
extensive
extensive
searches for
searches for
land that
land
may
that
or
may
may
or may
not
not
work
work
in that
in that
space. There
space.
was
There
one
was one
parcel that
parcel that
popped
popped
out that
out that
seemed like,
seemed like
I wouldn't
I
say a
wouldn't say a
great
great
option, but
option,
an
but an
option. There's
option. There's
34
34
acres for
acres for
sale
sale
next to
next to
River
River
Valley
Valley
off
off
McDonough
McDonough
Street.
Street.
You'd run
You'd
into
run into
some
some
significant
significant
limitations with
limitations
that.
with
One
that.
being
One
it's
being
next
it's
to
next to
residential
residential
on the
on
side
the
of the
side of the
street that
street
it's
that
on.
it's on.
The
The
second is it's
second is it's
currently
currently
zoned
zoned
agriculture.
agriculture.
We
We
ran some
ran some
numbers by
numbers
some
by
real
some real
estate
estate
people.
people.
Properties for
Properties for
sale. It
sale.
is
It
an
is an
unlisted
unlisted
price, so we
price,
did
so we
not
did
have
not
an
have an
exact
exact
price
price
quote on
quote on
the property.
property.
But if it were
If it
to
were
be
to be
zoned
zoned
residential,
residential,
you would
you would
expect
expect
maybe
maybe
750,000 an
750,000 an
acre.
acre.
Our purposes would be
This is a
commercial,
commercial,
and that
and
would
that
be
would be
probably
probably
the going
the
rate in
going rate in
Joliet for
Joliet
a
for a
piece of
piece of
property that
property that
big would be
big would
about a
be about a
million an
million an
acre. So
acre.
you'd
So
be
you'd be
looking on the
looking on
high
the high
side,
side,
34 million just
30
for
just for
land
land
acquisition.
acquisition.
And the
And the
location is
location is
by no
by
means
no means
ideal for
ideal
a
for a
centralized
centralized
government
government
building.
building.
May I say something?
Okay, that was
All right.
a lot of information.
I'm not done yet. Not done yet. Okay.
Okay.
I got one more. And this one is member Trenier's on the concept of building on the north side of this space. So the limitations, this is from White, the limitations that White saw where you'd have to acquire two other businesses over there. We know one is for sale for 900 right now. That does, and then there's an additional parcel you'd have to acquire. Much of the parking lot for this building would be taken up during any construction. And so there is not much additional parking in the vicinity, as we all know. In your final consolidation efforts, if you added in the ROE, land use, recorder of deeds, et cetera, you would need an additional parking structure that would not be able to be accommodated on this site. And then you would run into the same problem with the judicial facility where you would have a judicial facility or judicial employees based over here. And so they would somehow need to find ways to get back and forth to the courthouse. The other added complication is in the Joliet long-term plan for downtown. This is not a parcel that they have designated for government space. They would obviously like to see more commercial and residential come downtown. So those were the four issues brought up. I hope that answers all of the questions on them. If anyone has any additional questions, I am here.
Mr. Evans.
Okay, I know I missed last month's meeting, but I would just want to take us back to 2 meetings ago. A big priority for me is if we do partner with the city of Joliet, I would like them to be underneath the same roof as us. I just feel like it's an opposite thing for the public. I feel like if they see one building as the city of Joliet building, and then we have a county building separately, people are going to look at that as unnecessary costs. And I want the whole project to be encompassing of, we are trying to make a good long-term decision that results in lower costs. So that would include having the city of Joliet in the same building as us. So looking at the options in front of us, my two favorite are options 2 and options 4. I think I would probably lean with option 4 a little bit more than option 2. But that's just what I wanted to have under the record. I feel like that's very important, and I think it would be good to have a partner in the city of Joliet. And I am an advocate for that. So that's my comments.
Okay. Does anybody else on the committee have any questions right now? All right. Well, we have two that have come forth. We have member Trey Mayer.
Thank you, Chair Freeman. Mike, I'd just like to ask if you, I know you did a lot of work on this, but we don't have anything in our packet to reflect all the information you just shared. And I see you have some notes there. Is there a possibility that we could get copies of that?
I'll be making sure.
Yeah,
it's attached.
in the notes. Yeah. So option 5. I got it. I think the visual design person at White was out last week, so I didn't get it till yesterday. So I apologize for that.
Yeah, because
And
it's
so
not.
And so, and then I can forward you the notes that White sent on this side of the potential development on the north side of this lot. As for the other things, I don't have anything written put together, but I would be happy to sit down and discuss any of those adding on to this building or land acquisition options with anyone.
Because I noted your comments about using this piece of property, and I know in Mike's original plan for us, this was the piece of property we were going to use for the county building. And they didn't talk about moving the state's attorney, but everything else was going to move here. And I realize we still have a problem with the state's attorney based on the condition of that Emco building. But literally, we could build a new state's attorney building on the courthouse property and connect it to the new courthouse, potentially. I'm not an engineer, but I still am kind of opposed to putting everybody in that basically 2 square block area. It's already congested down there now with the city of Joliet there and the courthouse there and the state's attorney there. And now you're going to add every other single unit of government and all their employees and all the people that use the facility. And I just feel like engineers are miracle workers when they want to be. I got to figure there's a way to put everybody in this building and, the state's attorney, get them a new building. Put them in the courthouse front. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll get to you, Steve. I did. There was one other thing we did not. You did not cover that was requested, and that was the equipment for the clerk's office. She came and she was saying she needs somewhere to put these machines. Has to be somewhere that's secure. Did we find a spot for that?
We currently don't have that in anything at the county, and this has been kind of an age-old problem, and so everything is stored in this building, which is 24/7 secured. We just don't have space for it anywhere else that really makes a lot of sense.
So it cannot go to the Veterans Assistance Commission and the workforce on that empty floor. There's not a freight elevator.
The dock and freight elevator situation would be extensive, and it's not in place.
And the security is
the security of that building is good. It will be fine security, but the storage locations there, you'd be moving up. You'd have to add on an elevator up to the 4th floor, add in loading dock for the equipment, and then also dedicate, and you'd have to move around the 4th floor to create open space where you're not just running into the exact same problem that we have in this building, which is not purpose-built space for storage. So the fourth floor there is built out into medical offices still, and you would have to demo that whole situation and just have it be open space for machines.
Okay. I saw you. I'm going to go to committee members and I won't forget you. Okay. Mr. Balich, let me turn you on.
You gave your report, Mike. You indicated that the land on a big piece of 34-acre piece of property would be like $1 million because it's commercial. But the reality of it is when you buy something, you're buying it as A1. So you're not going to have to pay the commercial fee. We have to change it to commercial before it gets commercial value. So A1 is way less money. And I would hope that, you found one piece, but Joliet's a huge place. So that's the only place you could find that was for sale. That's the only farm that's for sale. That's 34 acres. Yeah, I'm just saying that there's a lot of other opportunities that you didn't have a lot of time to do it either. You only had
I had 30 days to look.
That's not a lot of time.
Well,
I'm not picking on you.
I understand your thought. Yeah, and so you're still running the same issue as having scattered county government. Then you'd still have to build a new judicial building, presumably. As to the zoning, it has been indicated for this parcel, and this is the only one that was of scale size that would make any sense that was listed. They will not be selling an A1 price.
Well, the other thing is, you said judicial would have to, when I talked about it, I said we would move everything but the judicial. They stay where they're at. And then we would have a big space for everybody and every department. So it doesn't, 34 acres is enough, but there's probably 34 acres at another farm. We haven't really looked at that. You can go to Joliet, Grundy County, and there's a lot of farms there. And a lot of people want to sell. They'd rather sell to us than to sell to a data center. So, I don't get it why, we just look at one place and say, oh, it's going to cost $1 million an acre. Well, if you go to a different area, Joliet is probably like 4 cities in size. So that's the only thing we could find was a 34-acre farm. I don't buy it. So
if you have any other properties that you see listed, please let us know. But this is, it's a publicly listed MLS for properties, and that's the only one that was of size.
Aren't there properties for sale that aren't on the MLS? Aren't there farmers that are willing to sell?
If you want if you have a location where you know it's a farm, we'll gladly reach out to them and see if they want to sell. But we're not going to spend time calling every farmer
I'm not saying that.
I think that when I think about moving farther away from the courthouse, farther away from the county business, I think this committee should have a conversation about how much we want to research that as to is it feasible to have us move all of our county business farther away from where the courthouse and our state's attorneys are.
How many judges come here? How often does the
state's attorney every time we're here? So I'm just curious. I know I can't take a vote. I can't. But if you would like to, like the committee, what do we think about moving us away from this area and staying in Joliet? I mean, turn your lights on. Let's have that conversation. It's here. Mr. Brooks.
Madam Chair, I will respectfully yield my time to the non-committee member Ogala. If you allow me to come after her, and that because you and I don't always remember what we're going to say, so I'll give you first.
We don't. She's very patient. I appreciate that. Thank you, Member Ogala.
I don't know that I always don't remember, but sometimes other people have said what you were going to say.
I know she takes really good notes too.
So my comment would be that I don't like all of us being in the same little area down there. I think it would be very congested. I think parking would become a nightmare in that little area. Yes, actually, I agree with Jackie on that. I think possibly building a building on the old courthouse building for the court offices. That would make sense because it's right there. We don't have to be there. Our state's attorney can travel anywhere. They're assigned to us wherever we are. They will come. How far could we go? I mean, we're not going to go into another county, so I don't think it'd be too far for them to travel. I don't personally like the idea of having us in the same building as Joliet. I think that we need to remain separate and have our own unique identity rather than have one mixed with the city of Joliet. That's my opinion on that. I think that we could look for other land. I don't understand why if it's zoned A1 and it's available for sale now.
It is.
And they're not, but it's zoned A1, so how are they not selling it at A1?
It's the conundrum of zoning, right? That land is worth a pittance as a real estate value is ag. They pay about.
So what are they selling it for?
It's not listed as a price. So they won't list a price because it's got potential industrial, or it would be whatever the developer would want it to be, right? So, and what the city would agree to.
That doesn't make sense. If they're selling it, they should have a price that they're looking for. To me, it makes sense.
They're trying to get the best they can.
Well, they should probably, look at selling to solar. They would probably get a great deal with that. But I think that going somewhere else and looking within the area makes sense. I think it makes sense. I don't think it makes sense to do it all in one building, and I don't think that we have to stay right here to accommodate what we want. Because I know that the city of Joliet wants this property for other things. So they're not looking for us to build on the north end, which we did talk about in the past. Building there and then knocking this down and making this parking. So I think we have options to look at, and we should consider all the options. And I think that maybe, I don't know how your caucus is done, but our caucus has not had a conversation about these, and I think that we should do that because it would make sense to get a feel for what the whole board wants to do. Also, I don't know how fast this would be moving, because it's already June, unbelievably. And, you have an election come November, and that can change things up too, unless the decision is made prior. So, I don't know. So, if we're interested in that 34 acre parcel, if it makes sense, we should look into saying what would they be interested in selling it for. We don't know. They can't have an open-ended thing. They must have some number in their mind of what they would like to do. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And thank you